Bum, bum, bum. Here we are. Yes. Okay, right. Let me get my shizness together. I need to get into the right Facebook group and make sure that we are indeed live. It tells me that we are. I'm going to give it a minute and just let people get on. I can't find any way. Yes, we are. I can see us. Woohoo! We look good. I can't find a way. I wish there was a way in a Facebook group of letting everybody know that there's something happening at the time. Do you know what I mean? You can't do it, can you?
I've seen some people that like tag everybody, but I don't really know how they do that fast enough.
No, well, I know when people join the group, you can welcome the new members, and it does it for you.
Yeah.
And like tonight in my membership, I manually tagged everybody, which was a bit laborious, but I did it. But there's 83 people in this group, so I won't be doing that here. We've got people joining us, though. I can see people are jumping on. Yay! So hello, if you're joining us. Hi. Hey. This is TCA Live. Oh, and it was just 1:11. Could it be any more perfect? We are going live using something called StreamYard, which means if you leave us a comment below, we may not see your name. There's people still trying to get into the group. I love this. Gail, you're like a freaking celebrity. People are joining just for you. I'm offended. I'm not really.
I emailed my whole list, so I hope a few people want to come see me.
Yes, I know. Well, I'm on your email list as well, and I was getting excited, and then I was like, wait, this is my thing. That's how badly I need this thing. Right, okay, so let's get sorted. If you're just joining us, hello. As I was saying, if you leave us a comment in the comment box, we will see your comment, but if you're not signed up to StreamYard, it won't give us your name. However, I have my phone, so I can see your name on there, so do not worry. We encourage you to get involved with this conversation. We encourage you to ask questions.
Let us know you're here.
Yeah, we want to know. We want to know that you guys are joining us. So let's start off. If you're already on with us live, can you give me a hell yeah in the comments box, and I can just check that that's all working well. We'd also love to know where you're tuning in from, because I'm in the UK and Gail's in the US. Let's have a competition. Let's see who brings the most people to this live stream.
US, we got to win this.
I feel like I'm already not confident, which is not a great place to be for a confidence coach, but I feel like I might lose this one. But still, let's see. So there's going to be a slight delay on the comments, so we'll just keep chit-chatting. I've put my child to sleep already. So
I thought she must be asleep. She's being awfully still.
Yeah, no.
Never seen her be that still.
Oh, hi, Gail and Lily. I'm Gail's sister, Emily. Oh, hi, Emily. Oh, I love this. It's a family affair. Is that a song?
Well, tell Emily how much she would like you, and we're gonna go to the UK and visit you.
Oh, please.
Her husband's British, so we're gonna come and visit.
Yeah. Oh my God. And do you know what? They've just announced the restrictions should be lifted by midsummer. So not that the UK summer is anything to be super excited about, but it would be very lovely to see you. I can see someone else saying hello, and they've given me a UK flag, so it's 1-1 at the moment. Who is this? If this is my sister, that would be brilliant. Let me see if it's going to tell me who's on. I'm just, here we go. I can see it's Karen. Hey, Karen, how are you? So yeah, for those of you just joining, we're having a competition. It's a complete popularity contest. We're going to see who brings the most people to this live stream. Is it going to be Gail or is it going to be me? I'm putting my money on Gail. I'm not confident in myself at all. But there we have it. I was going to clip my phone into its little holder, but I can't do it one-handed. So I'm just going to prop it up right there. So, my Lord, Gail, decluttering.
Yes, let's do it.
Do you know what? I have to say, Gail must have magic energy, because my house, I've not been bad actually. I did your decluttering deep dive. Was that it must have been 2 years ago, because it wasn't in lockdown. So it must have been 2 years ago.
Yeah.
When you first helped me, and I decluttered like one of my hellish cupboards that had just always been awful. And I Oh, don't worry. Whoever says that, yeah, Karen, don't worry. I can see you on Facebook. Don't worry. Yeah, and I feel like it's really parallel to what I'm like with my healthy eating.
Yeah.
So I still fall back into bad habits after a while, but so much of it sticks. So what I noticed recently was I still have my piles of clutter around, and this office is a great example of that. It's an absolute shit show. But I've cleared my whole dining room, my conservatory, because I realized recently that something I really wanted was family time around the table, right? It's important to me. And I was in one of those moods where I was like, I'm feeling not satisfied with something. So what is it? And that was one of the things. And it was having a knock-on effect because I had clutter in that room and it was all over the table. For a start, the room felt horrible. I never went out there. So that was a whole part of our house not being utilized. I couldn't use the table for what it was for. We had nowhere to sit, which therefore meant that when I was making meals, I wasn't really making it a big deal. It was just at the last minute, we'd be like, what should we have? And a lot of the time it'd be like, oh, we'll just get a takeaway, which is awful for finances. It's awful for my ass. It's awful for everything, right? And so I made that change and I went into that room and I was overwhelmed. And then I remembered what you taught me, that it's not that bad, that you just do it in bits. And that's what I did. And I've cleared the whole thing. I bought a beautiful tablecloth. I've put fresh flowers on the table. You'd be so proud of me. And I said to my family, every single night we will sit down to dinner and we will have a meal. Now, so far we've done it, I would say 90% of the time. There's been the odd day where it just hasn't worked because I've been at work or Kev's been at work or whatever. And every single time so far, Louis has lost it because he just can't cope with that. And yet he's done it anyway because we've made it such a non-negotiable that he's like, well, I know that I have to do this even though I'm a bit like iffy about doing it. And I've loved it. And as a knock-on effect to that, I'm now excited about meal times. I did a meal plan for this whole week. I did a meal plan, you guys. And not just a meal plan, I did a day plan. I'm waking up every day at 6 a.m. I'm meditating, I'm journaling, I'm getting ready for school. I woke my children up this morning with meditation music and cuddles instead of screaming at them because we were late, going, get out of bed! Now, you know, I'm not over exaggerating this. That's the power of clearing some clutter. And really getting to the root, like getting beneath that, it's the power of giving yourself what you want, right?
I mean, and that's what we do in the Decluttering Deep Dive is it's not just about like, oh, you know, should I keep this item or get rid of this item? It's like, what are your values? What do you want to do in your house and in your space? And does that item fit into that? So it's so much more than just, you know, like the actual items. It's what they represent, what they're helping you do or preventing you from doing. And there's just so much to it that is so. And the thing is, I think that's what makes the difference. Like a lot of people are like, well, I should declutter. I need to declutter. But if you're not, there's something going on there.
Exactly.
You haven't attention to like something that's important to you.
Yeah, and the thing I did, sorry, I was just putting on my banner. I forgot. I get very excited about my banners, so I've just added it. The other thing is, it's the level of shame that you hold yourself to around having clutter or around having a fat ass or whatever it might be. Like we spend so much time and energy going, I'm a terrible person. I shouldn't have this. And it's all my fault. And like you said, there's usually underlying reasons for that. And so first of all, you don't have to shame yourself. You don't have to figure it out on your own. You can find wonderful people like Gail to help. And, you know, I know it's overwhelming. And I especially know that it's overwhelming if you're someone that suffers with anxiety. And for me, clutter and anxiety are so linked because I find that clutter makes me anxious, but I also make clutter when I'm anxious.
Yeah.
So it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy. And you can usually tell the state of my mind by the state of my house.
Yeah.
And when it's cold and it's wet and I'm sad, everything, I just let everything go. I feel like I don't have the energy. I feel like I can't. And the main reason why it doesn't get done is that overwhelm, because I look around, it feels so much that I don't know where to begin. And because I don't know where to begin, then I just procrastinate and I go on, I don't know, Facebook or some other thing. And I do something that does nothing for my soul. Later on, I feel bad for doing that thing, or I'll eat crap, you know, all of these things that we do.
Yeah, they're all,
we don't actually know.
Yeah. And the thing about decluttering is it can be overwhelming, especially if you're in a place where you have a lot of stuff to go through. And, you know, like I've got 7 closets to go through, and there's stuff under the bed, and there's stuff in every cupboard. But it's just like anything else. If you pick a small bit and you get going on that, it just kind of builds on your progress. So you don't have to worry about the whole thing, like your whole house.
Yeah.
It's just like if you want to start moving more and you're like, well, today I'm going to walk around the block. I mean, that is not going to do a lot, but the next day you'll be like, hey, you'll feel good.
Yes.
Maybe you'll walk around the block 4 times. So
yeah. There's so much to say about this as well, because for a start, it doesn't do much in the immediate moment, right? You don't walk around the block and then get home and have flat abs. I mean, there is a joke, because I started back on my healthy eating plan this week, which is actually just it's just a healthy lifestyle. But sometimes we have a hand behind me. Sometimes I fall off the wagon with it, right? And so I've come back onto it. But I've noticed that even, like after day 1, I joked and I said to my husband, I ate salad today. Why am I still fat? Why have I still got a belly? But the thing is, like, of course, you're not going to have flat abs after one day. But the walk around the block it lifts your mood.
Yeah.
It makes you feel better. Do you want to be in the live stream? No, I think you do. Okay, now you've bottled it.
yourself about you being fat tubby.
I am a fat tubby. I can't even lie. It's not a horrendous thing, but I'm tubbier than I would like to be. But it has that
the energy. It starts to shift the energy, and once the energy starts shifting, it tends to continue.
It really does. You get in from a walk, and then you don't want to eat a biscuit because you feel like, well, I just took that step, so I don't want to go backwards. And it really is a domino effect. And I've found that this week. And there's also a lot to be said for just making that decision. Even if you don't know if you're going to be able to stick to it, you can just make that decision for yourself. And there's so many parallels, like I said. And I think I just want to make clear, like anyone watching this who is overwhelmed, like I know from my personal experience, and I am someone that has anxiety at times. The anxiety makes me think that everything has to be all or nothing. Yeah. So if I'm going to be in shape, I have to be in like Olympic athlete shape. And you have to stop yourself. You have to catch yourself when you start telling yourself that bullshit and go, you can do that. Of course you could do that, but nobody's going to get there, in the first step. You have to do the steps. And for me, actually, it's been about recognizing that I don't have to have that full achievement that I've been telling myself I have to have. Like if I see mess in my house, I don't have to clear the whole house. It's good enough if I just do a drawer. Yeah. Because then it will be another drawer, and then a cupboard, and then a room, and then 2 rooms, then a floor. And it is that knock-on effect. And and it is the compound effect as well. It's the level of belief you have that you can achieve it. Yeah. And if you're telling yourself,
we've talked about this too. Like, a lot of people are like, oh, I need a new house, or I want, this certain kind of house, a bigger house, a house in another location. Yeah. But often the things that we think we want in that other house, we can have.
Oh God.
In our current house, if we just, declutter, look at how we're using our spaces and just kind of tune into what it is that we really want, like you were saying earlier.
That's so true. Oh my God. We have a question in the comments, and I'm going to come to that in just a second, but I just want to round off what Gail said, because It's absolutely true. I would say 2 or 3 years ago, I was so unhappy and dissatisfied with everything in my life. It felt like everything, right? I hated my house. I literally hated it to the point it could make me cry because I just hated it so much. What I didn't realize at the time was I hated myself. It was nothing to do with the house. I hated myself. I thought that I'd let myself down. I thought I was failing. I mean, I could go into it, but if, you know, long story short, it was not about the house. It never is. It wasn't about the material things. And as I've gone through that journey and found the support and actually worked through that, I can categorically say now, I'm now at a place where I still desire to move, but mainly because I can't stop having children and they've overrun the house. But, you know, I actually have a lot of love for my house now.
Yeah.
Because I have a lot of love for myself. And like the house or like myself, there's history here, right? Yeah. There's, you know, in my house, this is where I've had all my children. I lived in this house with my best friend Nunu, right? I've lived in this house with almost all of my friends, actually. In fact, if you're my friend and you haven't lived in this house, you want to question what level of friend you're at, because that's how many friends have lived in this house, right? At one point, it was like the Big Brother house. There were so many of us in here. I don't even know where we all went, but like there are happy, happy memories in this house. And, you know, it really is. We're in control of all of that. You're in control of how you feel. You're in control of your surroundings. And you know what? The other day, like, I've started to do these decluttering things, decluttering of my physical space and my mental space too. Mm-hmm. And then it leads me to do little things that make such a big difference. Like I went shopping last Saturday, like I go every week, for the food. I saw they had some towels on offer, so I bought new towels. I don't think we've had new towels the whole time we've been married, and it will be 12 years this year. Yeah. And I bought towels that matched. And then I bought a bath mat, and then I bought a bin, and then I bought a loo brush, and then I bought a little pot to put my toothbrush in, right? And now my bathroom feels like so luxurious.
Yeah, some little upgrades, and that's one of the fun parts of decluttering to me, is just being like, you know what, I deserve to have nice towels. And even if I can only afford 3 fluffy towels to start with, you know, go get the 3 fluffy towels.
And that goes back to what I was saying before about that. It's being in that habit of thinking you have to do it all. Mm-hmm. So again, I would go, oh, I want some new towels. Oh, but then I'll need a new bathroom. And then I'm going to need new this, new that. And oh my God, I need a house, and I'm not earning enough money, and I'm crap, and vortex. And then you can't get out, you know? Yeah. So it takes a bit of work to get out of that habit. Mm-hmm. But my God, if I can do that, anyone can do that, you know? So we have a question from Karen. I'm so excited. We have questions. Yeah. Oh, I love this. Thank you, Karen. You've made my day with your question. So Karen says, what would you recommend as the first step to decluttering? And how do you decide what to get rid of? That may be a really big question. So I'm going to let Gail take it.
It is a really big question, but I do have some things that I think will help. So for me, a first step in decluttering would be to tackle an area that doesn't feel hard. So like if you feel like deciding on your clothes is going to be a struggle and you're going to have a hard time deciding which ones to keep or let go of, then I would pick a different category. Like, you know, like going through your old bathroom products and just getting rid of the ones that are expired and like icky or almost empty, or something that feels easy to you. Because, you know, like once we start getting into like sentimental items and things we spent a lot of money on, those are probably the hardest ones to declutter. So I would go with, you know, maybe like take out all of your Tupperwares and get rid of, or, you know, storage containers, anything that doesn't have a lid or lids that don't have containers. You know, things that feel easy to you is a really great place to start. Another one would be to kind of go in layers. So like yesterday in my clothes decluttering challenge, I said, you know what, just go to your closet and go through like quickly, like 10 minutes. Don't put a lot of thought into it, and just pull out the things that you know, like, oh, I definitely don't want these anymore. I never should have bought this in the first place. This hasn't fit me in 10 years. And then save kind of the harder decisions for a little bit later on. So those are some ways that you can get started. Another place to start would be to think about, okay, like what is bothering me the most? If there's something that you look at it every day and, you know, just always grates on your nerves, like maybe your family has like 27 pairs of shoes by the front door and you're always tripping over them. That might be, and it's like something that just bugs you. You know, you might start there and just be like, okay, well, first of all, you know, are any of these shoes outgrown? Are any of these shoes like for the completely wrong season? And then just start, you know, going through them like that. And then as we declutter, it's really nice because then we can come up with, okay, well, now I have a third as much stuff or half as much stuff. Now I can get a storage solution that's going to work for this area, and it's not just going to be spilling out everywhere. So, you know, so think about what's bothering you, what would be easy to get rid of, and just doing that top layer. Like you could do your whole house and just do the top layer. Like I'm just going to get rid of stuff that I'm 100% sure I don't want, and you could do a whole round of that, and then go back and put a little more thought into it. So, you know, there's just a lot of different ways to declutter. So it's kind of finding what works for you. Like I'm a get everything out, spread it out, and then put back only what I want to keep.
Yeah.
But that doesn't work for everybody because, you know, you might get everything out and then your kids need you. And then that stuff sits there for 3 weeks in a big, huge pile. And it's even more overwhelming. So you might be somebody who just needs to do a shelf at a time.
Oh my God, I've got an entire studio of bin bags of clothes that I had decluttered in the first lockdown. But then they shut the tip. It wasn't my fault. They shut the tip. So I was fully prepared to let go of it.
So you can drop them off?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because that's one of my other good pieces of advice is like take it straight to your car.
Yeah.
If you can, get in the car and drive it away like the same day, because you know what will happen? Your children will find those bags and your husband, and they'll start peeking in and they'll be saying, why are you getting rid of this? Suddenly this paper doll I haven't touched in 7 years is my favorite thing.
Exactly. This thing that's completely broken and dangerous is now my favorite toy, and there's no way we can get rid of it. And you're a horrible mother for making me.
Right.
I just want to say, Karen is saying all storage containers would be a great place to start. They're falling out of the cupboard. Karen, I feel you. I mean, if Gail could see my kitchen cupboard, she would weep. She would weep real tears.
No, I would be like, yay, let's do this.
I frequently get attacked by like cardamom pods or whatever has been balanced in the cupboard last, because I open the door and it's like, and then I get it on my head and it smashes everywhere. Yeah.
Well, another thing that can be helpful is to make some rules for yourself. Like I'm like, I don't keep anything that's expired. It's just kind of a rule I made so I don't sit there and overthink things.
Yeah.
Like, if it's expired, that's not a sign. Like I know it hasn't gone bad, but it's a sign that I'm not using it.
Right.
It's been in my cabinet for 5 years and I haven't used it up. Do I really need that spice?
Yeah, exactly. And you know, I was in my kitchen today and I've just started a cooking club with my brother-in-law and my sister, because he is the most phenomenal chef in the whole wide world. And he's teaching us to cook different things every Saturday. So I've bought all these lovely ingredients, fresh ingredients, and then lots of spices for my cupboard and lots of staple things. And you know, I got home today and I was like, I don't want to put those in my grotty cupboards. It's time for it. You know, when you've just reached that tipping point and you're like, it's time. And I literally didn't do it today because I knew I would do what you said. I would have time to clear it all out and then I would come to work and it wouldn't happen. So tomorrow I've earmarked it, and you guys can all hold me accountable, and Gail, I know you will. But I'm actually going to adopt that strategy that you said to me. It's all coming out. I'm going to clean all the cupboards. I'm going to put everything in beautifully. Anything that doesn't fit, anything that's old, anything I don't want, it's gone. See you later. The other thing I love is that it's that checking in with yourself. So I think Marie Kondo, who's obviously big on the decluttering scene, she says it, you know, does it spark joy? And I know lots of people laugh about this, but I found that really helpful as well, because I'm someone who I can get very sentimental very quick about things. Like, I am that kid that's going, but the broken toy is my favorite thing. Like, I might not have seen some of these things for 100 years, and all of a sudden I can't let go. So I loved that little check-in to go, does it make me happy? If it makes me happy, it can stay. And it was surprising how much it was so empowering. Doesn't spark joy, gone. Doesn't spark joy, gone. I mean, it was all I could do not to throw Kevin out at the time, because I think he was pissing me off that day. I was like, you're not sparking joy, you're gone. So, but you know, it's a really good way if you've got a lot of clutter. Like, I was dealing with the kids' toys, and it was a mountain of plastic shit, right, in the room upstairs. And I had to do it because Louis needed his own space. There was nothing for it. Yeah. And we'd already put his bed in there, and I felt awful every time I went and kissed him goodnight, just to see that he was sleeping. He was literally sleeping in the little hole that we'd made in the clutter. It was like Hoarders, you know, that program on whatever Sky Channel, Discovery, or whatever it is. It was like Hoarders.
You want to feel good about your life and like, okay, my clutter's not that bad. You can watch that show.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, mine isn't either, but I could definitely get there. I could see, like, I could definitely be at that level.
And that's kind of what we were going to talk about today.
Yeah.
Is, you know, is it clutter or is it a mess?
Yes, as you can see. On the bottom here.
So clutter can become a mess, but if you're decluttered, then generally messes don't bother you so much, because you know, like, oh, well, this is all stuff that I chose to keep and own, and it's just not in the right place.
Yeah.
So like, if your kids have 50 toys, they can only make so much of a mess.
Yeah.
They have 500 toys, they can make a much bigger mess.
Exactly that. Yeah, and that's true, because you know, if I get Sophia's toys out and I've cleared my lounge and I've hoovered it and it's all tidy, then we bring out her toys. That doesn't stress me out, because it's functional mess. It's like, of course it's a mess. It's like when you're cooking, it's going to be a mess while you're doing it, because you're using all the stuff. But when you know it has a place to go back to, you can whip that up in 2 minutes. It takes no time at all. We have more comments here. So I think this is Karen. Karen said, really great ideas, thank you. The other bit I often fall down on is what to do with it all, particularly anything that is too good to just throw it in the bin. So what can people do when they've seen that it's not for them, like it's not, and it's not expired, presumably, but it's too good to throw in the bin. So what do we do now?
Well, I mean, there are usually a lot of places to donate things, and that is good for like clothes, kitchen items, anything household. We can donate unopened food. I take to the food pantry for people that don't have enough food. You know, if it's open and we're just not eating it, I mean, some things you just have to throw in the trash.
Yeah.
And then, you know, like, forgive yourself and be like, I'm not going to. And then, but what that does to me, which is really helpful, is it kind of makes you think a little bit more when you're buying stuff. If you've done a big declutter and you've had to, you know, get rid of some perfectly good stuff, you think more about what comes in once you've done your whole house. So. And, you know, and what I found too is that I declutter my whole house, I'd say twice a year. I go through every single thing in my house, but it takes less and less time, you know, because I get more and more discernment about what I buy, what I need, what I bring into the house. So like I did my son's room, which used to take us half a day to get the crap out of his room each year. We did it in about an hour, and I had 5 bags of crap and 2 bags of trash.
Oh, it's unbelievable the levels of crap those people can hoard.
I'm like, how did this stuff live here? Where did it come
from? We've got a comment here as well from Emily, who says, my kids decide to build forts with all the things I get out if I do that. So I think that was in relation to that comment you said about
exactly. So
everything out. They'll build a fort. I would build a fort, to be fair. It's a great idea.
And I know some people feel guilty about getting rid of their children's things, but I don't have that problem. Because I know what they play with. I'm with them every day. I know what they use and what they play with. And two, it's my house.
Yeah.
So, at some point we have to say, like, is this healthy environment for us to all live in for them to have this much stuff, and we have to make the choices. To me, it's not up to kids necessarily what they keep and what they get rid of. But I do think we should help them be part of the process and kind of say, well, we have room on this shelf for 5 toys.
Yeah.
So out of this pile, which are the 5 that we're going to keep? And then, can we give the rest to some children that don't have any toys to play with? And that really, they think, oh my gosh, there are children with no toys to play with.
Yeah.
They're generous.
So I tend to do this around October time, because from November, it's just new toy central, because Louis' birthday is the 1st of November. Freddie's is the 26th of December. And of course, we have Christmas in the middle of all that as well. So it's always been just an influx of stuff. And so I agree with that. I think it's really good. They do struggle with it at times, but I think, it's important that they understand as well. Like, if it genuinely is giving you joy and you are genuinely going to use it, of course I'm not going to take it away from you. But actually, they will see themselves. You could maybe call their bluff and go, okay, we'll keep it then and we'll see. And then a week down the line go, oh, where's that toy? Oh, the one you've shoved under your bed and not looked at since, So this happened recently. Sophia was going through some of the boxes, and I'll be honest, right? I got to the point sorting out that stuff upstairs where I was tipping entire crates of toys into the bin. Because they were just all those, those little bitty bit, like, what are they? They don't go anywhere. They don't belong to anything.
Like a hat or toy somebody.
It was just woeful. I was like, no, it's all going. I said to Kevin, it's all going. That's it. It's gone. But Sophia wandered in and she'd picked out a couple of things that she liked. And one of the things was something Freddie used to play with when he was like 3. And he came home from school and he was like, Mummy, that's my toy though, isn't it? And I was like, well, it was your toy when you were 3. I mean, it's really a 3-year-old child's toy as well. He's 8 now, right? And he was like, I think Sophia can play with it, but just so she knows that is my toy. I was like, all right, we'll just let her know it's yours. But, he doesn't actually want it. It's just in the moment they see it, they suddenly feel very emotional and they think they want it.
Know about stuff too. And I usually, I try to make them part of the process, but occasionally I'm like, executive decision. I'm getting rid of this thing because it's driving me crazy, or it's taking up, or I just know they'll never notice. I've only had a couple times that my kids have said, Mom, do you know where this thing or that thing is? And I just lie. I just say, I haven't seen it. Well, we'll keep an eye out and change the topic, and they don't ask again.
No, they forget. No, it's absolutely true. I love it. I love your honesty. So Karen says, I like your idea of putting it straight in the car. Yeah. But do you know what? I did that in lockdown. I filled my car to the brim with all the stuff. And then I was like, oh, we're in lockdown. Put it back. That's why my studio got filled up. My studio became the dump. I did actually get to clear it. It's not so bad now. It's still a tip, but it's not actual rubbish. It's now just stuff that needs to be sorted. Emily says, I do struggle with the guilt for getting rid of my kids' toys. Gail helps me with that a lot. And do you know, it isn't just toys, is it? It's their clothes as well. If you really if you let yourself go there, it's like, this is the first pair of booties they ever wore. Do you know what though? I got over it pretty quick when I got in that mindset that I am having a clear house, because it's energy. And I'd love you to talk about that next, Gail, like the energetic benefits of doing this, because once I'd made that connection and then once I'd made that decision, I found I didn't get so emotional. It was like, oh, they were his first pair of booties. Awesome. We're not having any more kids. They can go. And they're falling apart anyway and they don't fit him now. I can enjoy his 9-year-old feet now, right? He's still my baby, and now I'm enjoying him as a 9-year-old the way that I enjoyed him when he was 1, 2, 3, 4, and all the rest of it. So I think it's another habit that we're all in, of living in the past. We've got into this habit of hanging on to things in the past and forgetting that the present is more beautiful, right? And so it's okay to let go of things if they're from the past. It makes room for beautiful new things to come in.
That's exactly the perfect intro to talking about the energy of decluttering, because it really is, you're saying to yourself, you're saying to, you know, God or the universe, like, I'm ready to enjoy my life now, and I'm ready for what's coming next. Because as long as we're holding on to, you know, a lot of things that we don't need or use, it's like stuck energy. It's like stagnant. Yeah. And the new energy can't flow in. So in whatever that new energy is, it might be like, oh, I cleared out a room and now I can have an office space, and now I can start a new business or a new project, or make a yoga area, or, you know, like have dinner with my family, or, you know, it's just like whatever it is that you want to do. If you're stuck or, you know, stagnating for any reason, clutter is a great thing to look at.
Yeah.
So it moves energy sometimes so fast.
Yeah. And it really does. And this is the thing, because I think when you're in a stagnant energy, you feel not capable of doing that, but it's remembering that you are capable, and it's actually going to unlock all of the things that you want. So Gail, I'd love you to just give a little introduction to Feng Shui, because you are a Feng Shui expert as well. You're qualified. And I want people to know that this isn't like, when we talk about energy, it's not this floofy, fluffy, oh, it's energetically beautiful to clear out a room. Like, this stuff actually works.
Yeah. So in Feng Shui, you know, what we're doing is we're creating an environment that's going to support what we want to do and who we want to be. And so that's generally, it's something that, you know, you're going to feel good when you're in there. You're going to, you know, have space and beautiful things to look at, because all of that lifts up your spirits. You know, I mean, if you're in a room and you're like me right now, like I'm looking at a table that's just covered in papers, it's mildly stressful. But, you know, if that same table had like a beautiful flower arrangement, and maybe just a couple of things that I loved or that symbolized, you know, something to me, like a direction I was going in my life or something like that, you know, that's just going to lift my spirits, and it's going to affect me subconsciously. And that's part of what I mean when I say energetically. It's, you know, I definitely believe that there are energies out there that affect us. I think we can all, you know, recall a time where maybe we went into a building and we were just like, oh my gosh, like this place just feels icky, or like I want to get out of here, you know?
Yeah.
And sometimes like sometimes that's our own house, and we're just so in it that we don't really notice that it's gotten that way.
It's so true. I think this whole thing about energy is, everything is energy. Everything is energy. We are energy. All the things in your house are energy. And it's amazing. And it isn't just with house stuff either. I've seen this work with my money. Like when I started paying attention to my money, and when I gave it a purpose, and when I was keeping a spreadsheet and going, this bit's going to go here, that bit's going to go there, I desire to buy this, you know, it really does work. And it's not like, you know, sprinkly magic. I mean, it feels like sprinkly magic, but it's really all down to you. Like, we're the creators. We're the ones that are powerful. And the important thing to realize is, when you're trying to up level your life, you are trying to convince your human brain that your dream is possible. And what holds you back is, you then wake up in the morning, you look around at your surroundings, you see the same old crap that you've seen all the time. It reminds you of who you think you are, because all of that's just an illusion anyway, but it reminds you of who you think you are, and then you act accordingly. So by making these changes, like Gail said, putting a vase of flowers on the table, or you know, hanging your clothes neatly in your closet, or you know, whatever it might be. And it can be a little thing, you know, like me with my new towels.
Yeah.
Now every time I go in the bathroom, I'm like, I'm a fancy person because I've got fancy towels that match.
The best things.
And I'm not a skank ass hoe with a really old toilet brush anymore. It's all shiny and new. Do you know what I mean? Like, can I say skank ass hoe? I think I can say what I like. It's my podcast.
For sure.
But it really makes the difference. And the thing is, if you've never tried it, you'll have definitely experienced it, but you might not be aware of that. But if you've never consciously tried this, you might be skeptical. And all I can say is choose something that is not very high stakes, right? Don't try and, like, if money is something that really stresses you out, don't start with that, right? Definitely get to it because it's important, but don't start with that. Do something like bathroom towels or tea towels in your kitchen, or just something that, you know, think to yourself, what would be in my environment if I was already the person that I want to be, or if I was already that version of myself that I see myself being. You know, would that version of me have old skanky towels, or would she have fluffy towels that match? She's gonna have fluffy towels that match. And the thing is, you'll get into overwhelm, like I said, and you'll quickly go, oh, but I need a whole new house before I can have that. You have to pull yourself back and go, my towels cost £5. They were a £5 and I bought 4 of them, right? They didn't cost a lot of money and they've made such a difference, probably more than buying something that could have cost £200 could have made, because it was what they represent. It's not about the amount of money. It's about the amount of joy it brings you when you look at it, you know? Yeah. And my bathroom is now a joyful place. And you know, it sounds really stupid and like this might be too much information and this, but I, you know, I'm the queen of oversharing, so I'm going to go there. Part of my thing, I suppose, with the anxiety that I experience, and I'm being very careful not to call it my anxiety because it's not mine, I reject it. But the experience of anxiety frequently when I'm having an episode will mean that I won't want to shower myself. I won't want to take care of myself. It will just go like by on and on because I just can't be bothered. I just don't want to. I don't see the point. Like, that's depression, right? And I've been in that place so many times. Yet doing that in my bathroom has made me excited to get up in the morning and have my shower. Yeah. And it's a nice environment to be in. So now I have some structure, and I'm the queen of not being structured, but I am still managing to do it. And I don't know how long that will last. I'm a human being, and I'm a human that has anxious episodes at times. So it won't be always, but it's like I said before, this is foundational stuff that will carry you through. So now next time that I have an episode, perhaps, I still think so much of that will carry me through because I'm still going to have a nice environment around me. Yeah. And I will have put that work in to do that. So it's
another, like, it can be another tool in your toolbox. If you're like, I'm really stressed out, I'm feeling really anxious. If you know, well, you know, I've got my list of things that make me feel better. You probably have a go-to list of things that you try. Like, once you get aware of, oh, wait, I'm feeling anxious, because sometimes you're kind of in it and you can't identify what's going on. But, you know, like, oh, if I tidy up my living room, it will make me feel better. You know, and I know, like, I'm like, at this point, like, I love to take stuff out of my house. Like, I'm like, this is great, because I know, I'm like, this is going to help me. This is going to, you know, shift the energy.
Oh yeah. And
I have a great story, actually. I was at my spa. This was years and years ago, and we were so slow, and I was so stressed. I was like, I'm not going to pay the rent. We're all going to starve to death. You know, like, all the bad thoughts. I'm like, I'm so stressed out. How am I going to make it through the winter? You know, it's all these thoughts. And I was like, you know what? We're here. The closets need a good cleaning. So I told the therapist that had come into work, I was like, let's clean out all the closets, and I'll pay you because, you know, you're here anyway, and I have to pay you anyway.
Yeah.
But we got going on the closets, and about an hour and a half into the closet cleaning, the phone rang. and we got a full rest of the day booked up
Wow.
with outcalls, so which is like our most expensive services.
Yeah.
But you know what? I could have said, well, to hell with it. Let's all just go home, and we would have missed that phone call, and we wouldn't have made that money. So it's like things work out in the strangest ways. But I'm like, you can always declutter. Like it can't hurt, so it's always worth a try.
Yeah, absolutely. I would love you to just dig in a little bit, as we've still got a little bit of time, to people who really are like, let's say somebody watching this right now is absolutely in the eye of the storm, right? They are surrounded by clutter and they are in the pit of anxiety, and they just don't know what to do first. Can you just talk a little bit about the power we have to make a decision? Because I think it's important to recognize that, yes, you can always declutter, you can always clear a room, and it will make you feel better. But do you know what? You can also make the choice not to do that on a given day. And it's about giving yourself that permission, and then recognizing that that was your choice that day, and you're allowed to make that choice. Could you dig a little into that for us as well?
Well, I personally have found so many times recently that as soon as I give myself permission not to do something, I just suddenly have the energy to do it.
Yeah.
So giving yourself that permission and just being like, you know what? Yeah, my house is cluttered and today it's a mess, but you know what? I still love myself.
Yeah.
And it's fine.
Yeah.
We don't have to be always on, always doing something to solve a problem.
Yeah.
And I think just even deciding like, I don't have to do it today, well, usually flips the switch for me. Giving myself that permission and taking the pressure off.
And that's energy as well, isn't it? That's shifting the energy around it. It's no longer the energy of expectation on yourself. It's the energy of decision and power.
And I think too, it's a lot of pressure, like you were saying, to do the whole thing.
Yeah.
I mean, and it might be just, I don't want to clean my house. I don't want to declutter, but, I'll just run the dishwasher.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you know what? That happened even today, because our dishwasher has been broken forever, but we've just been given one, thank the Lord. But now I'm waiting for someone to come and plumb it in.
Yeah.
Because I watched the YouTube videos and I do not trust myself, and I definitely don't trust Kevin. So we're just going to wait for someone to come and do it. And so as a result, I did a big cooking thing all over the weekend. So all of my pots and pans are, well, I say they're clean now. But earlier today, they were currently all dirty. I didn't have any room in my kitchen on the sides to even put them down. So they were on the floor in the kitchen. So it was getting to the point where it was cluttered on the top, it was cluttered on the floor, it was cluttered in the cupboards. And like that is overwhelming, right?
Yeah.
And then today I was looking at it going, I don't have time to do all of this, because I knew I had a busy day. And in the end, I was like, do you know what? I'm just going to wash up that one wok, because I know that tonight I'm going to want to make my dinner, and I'm on my health kick and I want to make the good food. So I need that pot. So what I did was I sorted it all into categories. So like all the pots were together, the plates were together. So at least it looked ordered, even though it was all still out. And then my sink was clear, which meant I could actually clean the thing. Because this is the thing, your sink gets filled up and then you can't even do the washing up because there's so much in there and there's nowhere to put it.
Yeah.
So I cleared the sink out, I cleaned my pot, and then I was like, oh, I'll just do another pot, just one more pot. And before I knew it, I'd done the whole lot. It was just one more pot. It's just one more pot. And so my take on that for anyone watching who's overwhelmed, like, first of all, own your decisions, right? There's no rule that says you have to. If you want to live in clutter, you can. Like, you're not a bad person for doing that. But if it's genuinely making you unhappy, and for some people it doesn't, like, I know people who genuinely love the chaos of living like that. It's just that's their safety, that's their environment, and they're quite happy with it. I'm honest though, and I don't like it, even though my husband thinks I do. I really don't. It does stress me out. And I think some of that is you don't like people to think badly of you. So I always think if people came to my house, I mean, they don't at the moment anyway, but if they could come to my house, then I don't want people to look at that and go, oh, look at the state that she's in. But also it's for me, I just want a nice living environment.
Yeah.
And, you know, it was just that strategy of one at a time. And I tell you, the other thing that gave me a really profound shift in my perception of my house was last summer. I bought a tent for the family to go camping, and it's the most beautiful thing in the world. I have tent pride, right? And I got to the campsite, I set the whole thing up myself, and I enjoyed. I said to Kevin, bring the kids later, I'm just going to get down there and get it all set up.
Yeah.
And I really enjoyed making the tent beautiful. Like, I set everything out. I had the little table with all our stuff on it. We each had our little pod to sleep in with our blow up bed and our sleeping bags, and each with a little headlight in the little pocket outside. Like, it's so organized, right? And I was like, oh my God, like, that is who I truly am. I really am an organized person. I really am someone that likes order.
Yeah.
But the life that I choose to live sometimes means that it's not ordered and it is a bit chaotic. But it gave me a shift because I kept that tent tidy. Every time it got a bit cluttered over the time we were there, I would clean it, no problem. Now, of course, that's a tent, right? So it's not that big. I mean, it's a pretty big tent, but it's not like a house, right? Yeah. And then I've been looking at my house, like, since we've been in lockdown, and I'm like, I was so happy in that little tent with that space. Like, I can just create that here in this house. Like, do you know what I mean? One thing at a time. And it's such a weird thing to kind of bring up, but it really has helped me. And every time I get a bit overwhelmed, I think about my little tent, and I think, well, my tent wasn't overwhelming, so my house doesn't have to be overwhelming. And my house can feel as lovely as my tent did, you know. And it wasn't a mansion tent. Like, my house isn't a mansion house, but it's my house, it's my home, it's full of love, it's full of stuff that I love, and anything that I don't love can go out, you know. It's moving that energy, it's allowing yourself to have the life you choose and everything that goes along with it.
And I don't know, I mean, I'm sure there are some people out there that are genuinely happy living with lots and lots and lots of stuff. But I think if they really sat down and, you know, thought about it, because one thing I think about is, okay, I pay for this house every month.
Yeah.
I make a house payment, and every item in here is taking up space in this house. So I'm like, do I want to pay for this thing to live in my house?
Yeah, that's a great way to look at it.
I think like that. And I'm like, because everything I have in here, it's taking up my space that I, you know, am energetically in charge of.
Yeah.
And it's just like, would I like take $5 out of my pocket every month to continue to own that thing? So that's what things take up our time. And we have to dust them. We have to move them around. We, you know, like, they take up time and energy and even money.
Yeah.
So, and I read somewhere recently that, you know, having a pretty clutter-free life can save you like up to half of your cleaning time.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
I have another program called Declutter Your Schedule, which is a bonus with the Decluttering Deep Dive. But I went through my life and I added these things up. I'm like, okay, house cleaning. How much time, you know, 20 years of house cleaning, 5 hours a week.
Yeah.
I spent 3.5 months cleaning. So, you know, like, I did all the math. But, you know, it's like, okay, well, you know, if you spend, I don't know, an extra hour a week doing something to maintain items that you don't even really need or want.
Yeah.
Or because you can't find things, you know, all of that stuff, it does affect our quality of life, whether we realize it or not.
Yeah.
So
100%. I love that. And I'm glad that you mentioned that. So I have put some links in the comments. So Gail, why don't you tell them first about your program, and then we'll tell them about your challenge.
Okay. So the Decluttering Deep Dive is my 6-week decluttering program. We go through every room in your house, step by step, to declutter everything. But why I call it Deep Dive is we go into the mindset and thinking really about, like what your home is, what experiences you want to have there, how you want it to feel, and like connect it to your values. Because most of us are not going to declutter. I mean, it's nice to declutter so that things look nice. But if we can connect it back to like spending time with my kids is the most important thing to me. But, like you said, you can't sit at your dining room table. Like that's connecting it back to something you value.
Yeah.
Very much. So we look at those things, and we look at the common areas that people get stuck, like trying to make decisions and, giving away things that maybe we spent hundreds of dollars on, and we feel bad about that because that brings up a lot of stuff. When you're taking clothes that you spent money on and you never wore and you're getting rid of them, like it's easier to hang on to them and think that we might wear them someday.
Yeah. And it's about getting real, isn't it? And going, but you've already wasted that money because you never wore it anyway. So it's just suck it up. Let's move on.
Not coming back. But so we kind of work through some stuff like that. But anyway, that's the 6-week program. We declutter your entire house. It's fun because there's a Facebook group and everybody's kind of got that energy going and posting pictures of, I got 3 bags of stuff out of my closet. I'm so excited. And we share like before and after pictures. And that makes it really fun because, you're doing it with other people that are also doing it. And you have people that are like cheering you on and saying, good job, yay. And I like that. I want people to say, go Gail.
Oh, we all need that. It's that accountability. I'll tell you what, when I did it before, and I was clearing out that cupboard downstairs, which was actually our downstairs loo. And then we had the toilet taken out. So now it's just like it's a dumping ground, really. Yeah. We put our recycling in there and then just brooms and stuff. But it had stacked up and up and up and up and up to the ceiling of just, I don't even know what, right? And thanks to your program, I cleaned that room out. And do you know, the number one thing I found in there, the thing that was taking up the most space was carrier bags. Bags and bags and bags. I reckon about 500, and I'm not even joking. Bags within bags. It was just so many. And I was like, why have I kept this? And the other thing I found were 2 whole bags full of Easter eggs. And I remembered from years ago, my boys had been naughty. So I'd taken away their Easter eggs and I told them I'm throwing them out, and I'd hidden them in the room, meaning to get them back out, and they never came back out. So it's amazing what you actually find when you do it. We've got a comment. I think this is Karen. More of my house cleaning time is actually spent tidying first, and then I put off the cleaning because there was too much stuff in the way. Yeah, I hear that as well. So I mean, anyone who's watching, if you've been listening to this conversation and going, holy crap, I need to declutter, but I don't think I can do it on my own, then the Decluttering Deep Dive program is probably what you need. Now, I know what it's like in the online space. And if you've never met Gail before, even though she's just poured her heart into this whole live stream and given so much, you might still be wondering if what she has to offer is going to work for you. So Gail, why don't you tell them how they can work with you for free first to find out if this is the vibe for them?
So I'm doing a free 5-day closet clearing challenge. And this is day 4, but you can still jump in. And I mean, the videos are very short, just a couple minutes each. So you could watch them all and get all the ideas and tips and even just tackle your closet tomorrow or over the weekend. So, so I give some of my best ideas on, how to get through your closet and your clothes. And clothes can actually be one of the harder things to declutter.
Yeah.
I mean, they cost a lot of money. We often have a lot of sentimental attachments to our clothes. So I think it's a good place to start And I picked it because, you know, if you do that challenge, you're going to have a win and you're going to be like, oh yeah, I'm ready to go. Let's do the rest of that.
And I think a closet, unless you're Mariah Carey, I think a closet isn't too overwhelming.
Right.
Mariah Carey has a whole floor of her house. I've seen it on a video, but you know, regular people have, maybe you have a walk-in closet. I don't even have that. Mine's a very small closet. And I think you're right. And I think, you know, clothes can be hard, but I think it's because in the back of our mind, we're all hoping that one day we'll look like we did when we were 20 again. But when you realize that that's not a thing, and again, comes back to what I said before, like, no, we're not going to go back to the body that we had when we were 20, but we get to have the body that we have now. And that's a beautiful thing as well. And we still get to wear beautiful clothes. The honest truth is, I'd look like a bag of shit tied up ugly if I tried to wear anything from 20 years ago anyway. So I actually want new clothes. I don't want the old stuff. So it's a brilliant place to start.
If somebody gave me back my entire wardrobe for 20 years ago, I'd be like, I have nothing to wear.
No, exactly.
Out of style. It would look ridiculous on me.
Yeah, exactly that. So I think that is it for comments. I'm just going to check here on Facebook as well. I think we're done for questions. If anyone has any final questions for Gail, please post them now or forever hold your peace. Except you don't have to hold your peace, because if you're watching this on a replay,
I'll by and answer them.
Exactly. Yeah. So you don't have to panic. But you know, if you guys are watching on the replay, do put your comments in, your questions. Yeah. We would love to see your decluttering as well. So be honest. Show us the shit show. I might go first and show you I could just take my pick from I could probably just show you now, actually, if I was even just to turn this around. Can I do this one?
Turn mine around.
Hold on, let me pick you guys up.
I have to tell you, I really want to do that area behind your desk. Every time we talk, I'm like, Lily, please let me come over.
This one, the wardrobe that's not even a wardrobe anymore. Yeah. And then this one here, makeup, journals, schedules, planners that I don't write in because I don't plan anything ever. I'm going to have to put you guys here now just because I've done it one-handed.
I'm not like doing this from a place of, you know, I'm perfect. There's my office right now.
Yeah.
Because I'm in a transition. Like, it's a process. And I'm a get everything out and look at it kind of person. So I was like, I've decluttered my paperwork, but now I don't have anywhere to put it. My husband took my desk away for his office. And he's like, I'll buy you a new desk. And I'm like, great, that's a great plan, but I don't have it yet.
Yeah.
And I need some shelves for the closet so I can put the stuff in there.
Yeah.
That's actually all stuff I need. It's just kind of like, it's in transition. Sometimes you're in that kind of in-between phase.
And I think that's important to recognize as well. Sometimes your clutter will be on show because you're in transition phase and you're working to something. This is what I always say to Kevin. He's like, the house is a mess. I'm like, it's not a mess, it's a transition. Hold your horses. That's
what I say in my class too. Like, it will get worse before it gets better, but it's worth it.
Yeah, exactly. So I would encourage you guys to get involved with this. You can sign up for the challenge in the comments below. You can also join the program if you know that it's what you need and you want to work with Gail. She's a beautiful soul, as you will have already seen. So do get involved. I'm in there as well. I've just noticed Sophia's pajama bottoms have slid off, so I'm just going to put those back on. It's all happening over here.
And with the decluttering deep dive, you get lifetime access. So if you get behind on the 6-week schedule, there's no worries about that. You can still go back and get it.
And do you run it live every time, or is it like live sometimes and then just DIY? Obviously, lifetime access, people could just do it at any point anyway. But is there a set time that you run it live each year?
There's not a set time. It's just kind of like, oh, I think I'll do that again. But if you bought it, you're invited to the next live round and the next live round. So that's fun too. And there's more people in there and more people, more fun.
I love that. So any questions for Gail, then pop them in the comments below, or for me, of course. You can ask me questions too. And okay, well, I am gonna commit to clearing this office space.
Okay.
Just for Gail, because Gail likes to come on Zoom calls with me and I want her to be happy in her life. So I'm just going to give you guys one more look. What I'll do, it's a bit hard to see, but I will take some pictures of this and I will post them in the group tomorrow in daylight. And then I will tackle the office. I've been meaning to do it. And actually what I want to do, I think, is put my desk away from the wall so that I'm sat in front of the wall.
Yeah.
Because then I can have my inspiring pictures behind me instead of this. So yeah.
Yeah, that would be great. That's a great upgrade. Yeah.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yeah. So Karen says, thanks very much, ladies. You're so welcome. Gail, thank you. It's been such a blast. I'm excited to see what we all achieve. And I know that you've got your challenge happening in the other group, and I know that the program's running as well. But I think, why don't we just do a little mini challenge here in the Confidence Academy podcast group as well? And I will just say, next week, we will just do daily check-ins. And what I would love people to do is keep a tab on not just what you're physically clearing, but how you feel as you do it as well. And come into the group and share. So if you get up on Monday and you're like, I just can't do it, share that, right? Because there's no judgment. You're not going to have your ass kicked. We're not going to shame you and ridicule you for not doing it. That's definitely going to be me. I don't want to do it, Gail. Don't make me. It sucks that Gail lives in the US, because otherwise I'd just pay her to come and do it for me. And I would hide it under the title of, can you come and do Feng Shui on my house? But really what it means is, can you clear all my shit out, please? But I think there's power in that sometimes. There was a plan formulating in my choir at one point. I think it was a bit of an intervention because everyone knows that my house is a mess. And a few of them were like, look, we'll come with bin bags and gloves and you're not allowed to say anything. We're just going to clear the shit. And I was like, please do it. And then COVID hit and it's never happened yet. So I'd still be up for that. But yeah, I think let's just do every day next week. We'll just check in. I will do it. I encourage you guys to do it as well. Gail's going to be here and I will keep a track on how that makes me feel. And then later down the line, I'm going to do it as a 30-day challenge. So I don't know if you guys have heard, but I've decided to do every month. I'm going to take on a new challenge. So March is a meditation challenge. And I've already started actually, but every day I will meditate. And I'm going to keep a track on how I'm feeling and what it does for me. And I'll be sharing that. So there is going to be a 30-day decluttering challenge happening at some point.
Yeah.
When I know,
because maybe we could do May or June.
Yeah. May or June would be great. Yeah. Because that way, yes. Okay. Well, let's just say that's what we're going to do. Which one works best for you, Gail? I'll let you decide.
May or June?
Yeah.
At this point, either one. Let's do May.
May.
Yeah.
Right. You heard it here first. So May 2021, it's official. In the Confidence Academy, we are doing a 30-day declutter challenge. And you guys can watch me do it in here and I will encourage you to do it as well. But for now, we'll just all get involved. You can get into Gail's challenge and get involved with the group and then come into this group and tell everyone how it's going for you. And yeah, obviously Gail will be here to answer questions and give you a boot up the bum if you need it. It's always a loving boot. It's always a nice experience. Oh, well, Gail, thank you so much. Thank you to everyone who joined us live. It's been so exciting to have questions.
Yes. So
I love it.
And
I don't know if we've got the results. So we've got 4 people on right now. I don't know if I'm one of the 4 because I'm on Facebook, but
Oh, yeah, that might be too. Well, then we're still tied.
Even Stevens.
Yeah.
There you go. And that's just what it is, isn't it? We're equally brilliant. We knew that. Fabulous. Thank you everybody for watching. To everyone listening on the podcast as well, don't forget to get into the Facebook group if you're not already, because you could be listening to this and not be in that group. So the link will be in the show notes. The links to Gail's challenge and program will also be in the show notes. And like I said, come into the Facebook group and ask your questions, and I'll be back next week with another amazing guest. And remember, confidence is yours as soon as you choose it. Lots of love. Night night.